So the ceremony is all about awarding excellency in songwriting, and I was just wondering what acts that are nominated today do you think are pushing songwriting forward as a craft?
In a word, Grime.
Yeah. Stormzy's nominated today. Is he someone that...
I mean, just the whole genre of grime, I think they're still using that to talk about how the world is. I think the reason for that is that the artists that make that music are people of colour, are still marginalised by our mainstream culture. So the only way someone like Stormzy has of getting into your timeline and my timeline is to make great music. In the 20th century, all young people were marginalised. The only place we had to talk about things in the world was in magazines like yours. Now, young people have greater access, but there are still people who are marginalised, and grime represents part of that community, and I think that's why it's still, of all the music that's being made in the UK at the moment, still has the edge.
A lot of people say that political music doesn't really have an impact nowadays and is stale. Are genres like grime proving this wrong, and especially moments in pop culture like Stormzy's Brit Awards performance getting a kind of response from Theresa May? Does that prove that politicised music can still have an impact in 2018?
Well, it depends what you want music to do. If you want music to change the world, it can't do that. Trust me, I've worked my bollocks off trying to do that for the last 35 years. My experience, the only people who can change the world are the audience. But what you as a musician can do is to bring the audience together and be a lightning rod for their feelings so that they can express how they feel, and then that, when the audience express how they feel, that can bring about change. The great thing about what Stormzy did at the Brits wasn't just that he said it, which is brilliant, but it was the way the audience in the O2 responded. In many ways, that's what Theresa May was reacting to. If they'd said that and there'd have been no sound from the audience, maybe she wouldn't have done that. Because, you know, we said a lot of stuff like that during Red Wedge. Number 10 never bothered to respond to us then. So I think in that sense, you know, music has got a greater reach now, thanks to digitisation. But don't expect it to change the world. Expect it to inspire people to change the world, because that's how it works.
Yeah, and you speak very highly about grime, but you yourself are known for more guitar-based music. Do you think there's any kind of guitar bands kind of pushing songwriting forward at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, you only have to see Ed Sheeran with a guitar. You know, I mean, I'm not a great fan of his music, but to see him up there in a huge arena, I'd like to think there are people in the audience who think, you know what, I could do that. I could go and do that, because I mean, you know, no disrespect, Ed, but he's really basically doing what I do. He's just you know, got a few more foot pedals than I have, and he's you know, obviously writes much more commercial music than me. But I think it's the examples. What you need to inspire people is someone on stage, and you think to yourself, what I thought when I saw the Clash, shit, I could do that. Those guys are the same age as me. I could do that, and that's what you need. And I think seeing someone solo on stage with a guitar gives people that kind of idea, I hope.
Yeah, and Ed Sheeran headlined Glastonbury last year, which at the time was a kind of divisive choice. Glastonbury's taken a year out this year. Who do you think should headline in 2019?
Meghan Markle. I think she'd go down a storm. And she's married to a ginger bloke, so that'd even be better. If they liked Ed, they're going to love Meghan.
And it's about a year on since the general election 2017, and a lot of people had predicted that that time in a year's time, that Corbyn would be leading the country. That hasn't happened. Do you think it still looks likely that it will happen?
I think so. I think we're with Brexit still going along, anything could happen. We're kind of through the looking glass now, you know. So when the election comes, we'll, you know, I hope people will come out and make their voices heard, because the next couple of years are going to be absolutely decisive in the way this country goes. What kind of country do you want to live in? And at the moment, the only person I think who's putting forward the idea of a positive, progressive idea of society, a fair society, a society in which ideas like compassion and put in front of the market is Corbyn. So I'm hoping that at this moment, when we're in this situation we find ourselves in, the fact that he's there will encourage people to vote for him and make him Prime Minister.